What's up, everyone? Joe Buzzrowie here. First episode of Cup of Joe. I'm really excited. We have a lot to talk about today. For some reason, the last couple days of the week have been filled with news, drama, gossip, anything you can think of. And I'll tell you what, it's quite exciting. And by the way, I just want to make it clear here. I just wanted to let you know that this right here, this setup right now is temporary. We are going to be, right now I'm in the middle of making a studio. And it's in the room right next door here. And I know it's really echoey, and I'm really sorry about that, but it's going to be a lot better, I promise. So, make it, okay, hi Christian. Hi, how are you? I want to go ahead and start off with Creepy Joe. Creepy Joe with his hairy legs and his whole tangent. So we have the clip right here. The hairy legs of Joe Biden surrounded by kids. He likes having kids jump on his lap. Let's just go ahead and play it here.
I saw that made me aware when I was in law school. Proudly for Holloway. Proudly for your dad. First African-American state senator in the state of Delaware. Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Okay, so Joe Biden doesn't necessarily have the reputation of being a very professional person. Per se. I mean, you can debate that maybe back in 2008 and 2012 during the election years, he was a lot better. But something has to be wrong with his staffers. His staffers aren't controlling him as much as they should. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is the fact that a lot of the people that are running for president, that are running for office and whatnot, they don't kind of run their own show. A lot of other people run the show for them. A cup of Joe's hairy legs. Yeah. But so whomever is the main staffer for Joe Biden, one needs to get fired. Joe needs to find someone much better than this. I don't know if you guys saw. I don't have the clip here right now, but pretty much Andrew Yang was putting whipped cream in his fans' mouths and stuff. It was kind of weird, and his staffer pulled him away. That's good staffer responsibility right there. I have to say that Joe Biden needs a new staffer, like ASAP, like right now. And we have another clip of Joe Biden also being creepy. In this clip, it's a Biden rally, and in this rally, he is his wife Jill Biden is speaking and kind of, I guess, helping out her husband. I guess she still has hope in her husband. It's kind of interesting, and her hand kind of gets in the way of Joe because Joe is right next to her. And let's just show the video.
And when they cut to the President of the United States.
So he bit his wife's finger on stage, on television. It's all over the internet now. They're calling him Joe Bitten or something, Joe Biden. And this is just embarrassing. And let's talk about the election for a minute as a whole. So this guy, by the way, Joe Biden, wet hairy legs, loves having kids jump on his lap, and I guess has some sort of finger fetish that he bites fingers. This guy is winning the Democratic primary right now as we speak. He is on top of the polls, and he pretty much is winning in almost any poll against other Democrats. And he does all this stuff. Now, also, Joe Biden doesn't have a great reputation when he was in the Senate. In the Senate, he passed many laws that are not very pro-progressive Democrat like today. But I'll tell you this: it's a miracle that he is top of the polls. Now, let's talk a little bit about the election as a whole. We have, and I want to talk about specifically three people. That is Joe Biden, obviously, Bernie Sanders, and as well as Michael Bloomberg, who just entered the race recently in the last week or two. And what's really interesting is you get more traction out of Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. Michael Bloomberg, it's too early to kind of tell if he's going to gain any traction or not. I think he entered the race a little bit too late, to be honest. A lot of people already set on, at least for now, there's a big chunk of people that are already volunteering for certain candidates. And if they haven't made their mind up now, they're not going to make their mind up anytime soon. They're going to make their mind up much later on, typically about a week prior to the Democratic primary election in their specific state. So it's kind of interesting when you look at these three candidates that are in the Democratic primary field. What's some sort of rhetoric that you keep hearing from the left and Democrats? And that is, we hate white, old, straight men that are also wealthy, right? So millionaires and billionaires. And Joe Biden, millionaire, white, old, straight. I think. I'm pretty sure it's straight. Not Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders. He has a net worth of over $3 million. He has multiple houses, and he is old, he's white, and he's straight. He's a male. Michael Bloomberg, extremely wealthy man, multiple houses, old, white, straight. This is something that mind boggles me, right? So they were pissed that Trump won the election because he's an old, white, straight man who happens to be wealthy. But now their top candidates and the candidates that they're putting out there fit Trump's description: a wealthy, old, white, straight male. This is something that is, to be quite honest with you, really hypocritical for Democrats. And I think it's something that we see all the time from Democrats, is that they are essentially being hypocritical in what they believe in. So, for example, Bernie Sanders hates billionaires and millionaires, and all of a sudden now he is a billionaire. Not billionaire. He's a millionaire, and now he's not talking about the millionaires. He's talking about just the billionaires. Now, here's what we have to kind of take in consideration here is essentially Democrats don't care about pretty much what they say in public, because you see time and time again they have changed their narrative multiple times throughout many years. For example, if you go back maybe 10 years ago, maybe further than that, you have people like Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and many other prominent Democrats that were for a secure border with Mexico. And today, they are not for that. They are for open borders. This is something that we see Democrats doing every single day. Now, I'm not surprised that they're putting out these people. I mean, these people do have the money and the power, the political influence in order to win an election. So I'll be honest, not very surprised whatsoever. Just want to let you guys know I am doing a Q&A at some point in here. Just go ahead and follow me on Instagram. It's right here. Go ahead, follow me, and ask any question you like, and I will answer it later on today. We have a few questions coming in right now, and it's going to be a great great Q&A later on tonight. Now, next thing I want to talk about, impeachment. Yesterday we had a lot of really, really interesting stuff happen. We had a few different professors from various law schools, experts, I'm going to put in quotation marks, experts in constitutional law, that pretty much gave their legal opinion on Trump and the impeachment. Is anything that Trump did an impeachable offense? And pretty much nothing really came out of it. We have one guy that was pretty much did not vote for Trump. His name is Jonathan Turley, but kind of was not in favor of impeachment, which was actually a really good move for the GOP to go ahead and pull in order to kind of really push their narrative that we have this obviously a not biased guy. He was probably the most non-biased person there that does not support Trump whatsoever, but believes that impeachment is absolute BS. So that's a good thing. Good part from the GOP for doing that in the House. But one thing I really, really want to push on is Professor Pamela Karlan calling out Barron Trump, the son of President Trump, and he is 13 years old. I don't have the clip here now, but she pretty much said to the House committee that she was testifying in front of that the difference between a president and President Trump and a king is that President Trump can name his son Barron, doesn't mean he can't make him a baron. So if you guys don't know what a baron is, which I didn't know at first, I had to Google it. It's pretty much like a knightship, a duke, a lord in England, but it's a baron. It's like some sort of different, a different type of status, I guess. So this sort of stuff got a lot of traction online and as well as on the news, and we see that the First Lady Melania Trump did tweet at Pamela Karlan saying that minors deserve privacy. And one thing I really think is disgusting is the fact that they went after a 13-year-old in order to crack a joke. And Matt Gaetz did a fantastic job on kind of destroying her in front of the committee, no problem whatsoever. So you guys can go ahead and check out that video of Matt Gaetz. It's all over the internet, and pretty much calling her out for using Barron as leverage, I guess. But one thing that's really confusing is just not too long ago, Hunter Biden was under the scope of the GOP. Hunter Biden, if you guys don't know, the son of Joe Biden, was essentially pretty much investigated or trying to investigate him for pretty much getting a job he doesn't necessarily qualify for, which is he was an executive board member for a Ukrainian gas company. And this was happening during the time that Joe Biden was vice president. And he got, I think it was around the lines of a little over $80,000 a month for that job, something that he didn't qualify for. So that's the sort of investigation they're trying to pull. Also, he went to China for like less than a week, came back up with $150 billion. So it's one of those things that pretty much it's something worth looking at. Now, when we saw just yesterday, they went after Barron, no problem. But once Republicans and conservatives went after Hunter Biden, they said, no, hands off of kids. Hands off of kids. You can't hit the kids. Now, Hunter Biden is an adult. He's a full-grown adult, but he still is considered the kid, right? A kid. Now, he is a child of Joe Biden, but we can't hit him. But the leftist media can go ahead and they can hit Eric Trump. They can hit Ivanka Trump. They can hit Donald Trump Jr. and Barron Trump now. But they can't, Fox News, conservatives, Republicans, they cannot hit Hunter Biden. This is another time where Democrats have some sort of double standard, and for some reason, it just works out for them. It just works out for them. Now, a way to stop this absolute BS is to call Democrats out every time you see some sort of double standard. And we see it almost every single day now. And it's absolutely pathetic, to be quite honest with you. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about big news this week, actually. And that is Kamala Harris has dropped out of the 2020 race. And this happened when I was on the plane a couple days ago, going from Florida to Arizona. And I was watching Fox News on the plane while it was happening. So I was watching Tucker, and Tucker brought on a very interesting left-leaning guest that pretty much said, and let me read it here, that Kamala Harris dropped because of racism, and it says that she lost the black vote, and the reason why she lost the black vote to Joe Biden was because of racism, because black voters are going to be thinking what the white racist voters are going to vote for. So that's where the so-called racism is, that black Democrats are thinking, who are the white people going to vote for? And they run along with that. That's their excuse. You can find it on Tucker, and it's this is actually something someone said, that pretty much in general, black people can't think for themselves, which is inherently racist to say that black people cannot make a decision for themselves, so they rely on white people to do so. Another fantastic example of hypocrisy from the left, hypocrisy from Democrats, a double standard. And it's quite phenomenal if you really think about it, where, and by the way, the guy who said this was African American. He was a black guy that said this on Tucker Carlson a couple nights ago. This is the world we live in. This is exactly what we live in now, where even other black people within the Democratic Party, within the liberal movement, the leftist, progressive, whatever you want to call it, movement, are being racist against their own people, saying that they cannot make a decision for themselves. Where you go to the more conservative side of politics, you go to the Republican Party, and we promote free thought. We promote that you should be able to think and believe in whatever you want. Your skin color, your race, your ethnicity, your religion, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you can see that the Democratic Party, I know many black conservatives, black Trump supporters, and they have been called the nastiest things for a few years now, ever since they started supporting Trump. And who are the real racists here? We get called racist all the time. I'm Jewish, I'm Latino, but I get called a racist Nazi every day, every single day. Yet we see the behavior from the left, the behavior from the Democrats, where they are calling other African Americans, fake black people. I've heard of Oreos. And this stuff is disgusting. They're turning on their own people to, quote unquote, prove a point where, in reality, they're being racist. Pretty much what they're saying is, you need to be a Democrat, you need to be a leftist, a liberal, if you're black, gay, Jewish, if you're any minority whatsoever. Us Republicans, we say no. You can be whatever you want. You can believe in whatever. You can believe in absolutely anything. We believe in free thought. We don't believe in slavery of the mind. That if you fall under a certain category, you must believe in this. You must believe in that. And that's something that I've been seeing a lot of minorities wake up to. I've been seeing a lot of, African Americans, Latinos, and even Jews, fellow Jews of mine, and they're all coming to the conservative movement. They are expanding their knowledge and getting out of that box that the Democratic Party puts them in, the leftists put them in, and the liberals, they put them in a box, and it's inherently racism. Inherently racism. So I'll have one more thing to talk about. Then I'm going to go into quick Q&As, and that is, and this just happened today, the UN, the United Nations, the do-nothing United Nations, requests Israel to get out of the Golan Heights. Now, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Israel, the Golan Heights is in the north of Israel and protects Israel from Syria, and it's a very strategic point for the Israeli military to use in order to protect themselves against terrorists, against Hezbollah, against ISIS, and as well as the Israeli military obtained the Golan Heights because of the war, the 1967 war. A war against Syria was one of the countries. And the UN says, we're going to go ahead and we want to... Oh, it looks like we're having issues here. Oh, God, it looks like we're lagging a little bit. All right, I think we're good now. So, pretty much, the UN went ahead and told Israel, we're going to, we want you to leave the Golan Heights, completely leave it. Why is the UN doing this? Why isn't the UN going ahead and going after Iran, going after North Korea, going after Gaza and Hamas and Hezbollah that are killing not only Jews, they're killing gay people, they're killing women, they're killing infidels or non-believers in the Islamic faith simply because of who they are. In Gaza, people die every day, and when people come to me, they say, well, what about all the people dying in Gaza? Well, yeah, it does happen, but it's not Israel's fault. For the most part, it's not Israel's fault. It's actually Hamas's fault. It's Hamas that is killing their own people, that is blatantly persecuting people for who they are. But no one knows, and no one that actually studies and dives in to the issues that are happening in Israel truly understands what the hell is happening in Israel. They just blame it on Israel. Most people that I've actually talked to, they don't even know who Hamas is. If you know what Hamas is, I mean, I'll gladly let you know. Just go ahead, DM me on Instagram. Handle's right over here. But it's absolutely mind-boggling when they focus on the IDF. They focus on Netanyahu and soldiers and just Jewish people, Israelis. But they don't realize that the Muslims that live in proper Israel are doing much better and are significantly happier than the Muslims in Gaza and the West Bank. Significantly. Plus, within proper Israel, they have full rights. Full rights. If anything, they actually have more rights than Jews. They don't have to join the military. Jews have to join the military. So, no one is actually complaining in Israel. Where the people are complaining is in Gaza, is in the West Bank, for the way that they're being treated, not by the IDF, not by the Israeli government, but instead by the way they're being treated by Hamas. So this is something that I think more people need to go ahead and think about and study. If you guys are actually more interested, I am able to get booked for next semester to go to your college and actually go and talk about Israel, talk about the issues that are happening there, as well as I do want to touch on anti-Semitism on campus and how to identify it. And I think it's really important. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I'd love to come and to your school. So, all right, let's go ahead and check out what is up on the Instagram. Okay. So Danielle has a question. Do you think that the right can be just as bad as the left in rhetoric? So I think what this means, and Danielle, let me know if I'm saying this wrong or explain your question wrong. The thing which means is that when the left comes out with some sort of rhetoric of some sort of double standard rhetoric or using kids to prove a point and whatnot, can the right be just as bad? Recently, I haven't seen it, to be honest. I haven't really seen much from Republicans, using some sort of bad rhetoric and spewing some sort of really horrendous rhetoric or something. I've seen that really, really coming out of the Democrats. I mean, you look at the Democrats in this impeachment inquiry, they have been it's absolutely stupid. They moved from Russia to Ukraine. They went from I don't even know the order anymore. It's so many. They went treason, bribery, quid pro quo, meddling in the elections, getting help from the Russians, getting help from the Ukrainians, there's so many different things that they've done that it's actually hard to keep track of. And you see that sort of rhetoric coming from the left more so than the right. Do you believe that left and right wing hurt political discourse with sound bites and short answers? Danny, I don't really understand your question. If you can go ahead and put it in the chat, I'll be really happy to answer that. Really, really happy to answer that. Got another question here. Let's see here. Oh, I lost it. 1 second. Melissa, how are you? What are some crimes committed by Obama during his presidency? Glad you asked. So soon we're going to have the FISA report coming out. And the FISA report is supposedly, according to Attorney General Barr, has a lot of damaging, really, really damaging evidence against the Obama administration. Whether that is Obama himself, which most likely is, or someone that was within the Obama administration, I don't know. But that is one really, really big thing about the FISA report is what I really want to, I'm really excited for. As well as, you have the Fast and Furious scandal. You have giving Iran $150 billion in cash. All that stuff could be criminal. Very well could be criminal. If you guys have any questions, go ahead on my Instagram and ask them. I have it on my story on Instagram. Feel free to go ahead and ask anything you'd like. I'll answer most of them. I'm trying to pull it up here right now. And if you have any questions, if you can go ahead and put it in the chat as well, I'll be more than happy to. But priority right now is the Instagram. So let's go ahead and try to pull this up here. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself? No. Absolutely not. I think Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee. What do you think? I believe that it's most likely going to be Elizabeth Warren. Then again, it's really too early to tell right now who's going to win, because we got a while until the election itself. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Some interesting questions. One's in Arabic. I can't read that, so sorry. Wow, there's a lot of interesting stuff you guys are telling me. Oh, God. Do you think any sort of gun ban should be put in place? So absolutely not. There's nothing in the Constitution, or specifically I should say in the Second Amendment, that talks about regulation of firearms. And a lot of people will talk about, well, automatic firearms weren't a thing back in 1787 when the Constitution was drafted. That's actually not true. There are many different variants of an automatic weapon that was there during that time. So that is explicitly not true. But nothing. Absolutely no regulation on firearms, I don't think, except for if you are a felon of a violent crime. That's something I might be open to, but I'm not saying yes or no. But I might very well be open to violent crime. Felons should not be able to have a firearm. Thoughts on Andrew Yang? Yang Gang. Yes, Andrew Yang is a really interesting individual. So his policy doesn't make sense when it comes to universal basic income. It's really... To me, it sounds like bribery, to be quite honest with you. It sounds like that this guy is so desperate for votes, he's going to try to bribe everyone into pretty much into voting for him, which is despicable, obviously. And plus, the $1,000 a month for every single American in the country, that is so much money. We can't even afford that. We can't even afford that whatsoever. And a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, you hate taxes. This is just giving your tax dollars back to you. Well, no. Here's how you give $1,000 a month to people. You tax them less. If that's your whole thing of we're giving your tax dollars back to you every month, how about you just don't tax people as much? Don't tax people at all. Don't tax them at all. Absolutely not. Don't tax anyone at all. Likud or blue and white? Now, these are the two parties, the two major parties, I should say, in the Knesset in Israel. I'm a Likud guy. I am definitely Likud. So many did Epstein kill him? That meme is not dead, is it? It is not dead. This is interesting thought. What are your thoughts on Messianic Judaism? I like this question. This is a little bit different. It's not really political. It's definitely a really interesting question. So Messianic Judaism, if you don't know, it's pretty much Judaism, but they believe in Jesus, right? And my thoughts on it, I mean, like I'm not Messianic. I'm just Jewish. But I mean, like, I don't really care if people believe in something different than me. I mean, if they have Jewish blood, then they're still Jewish to me. They're still the way it works in Judaism is it's kind of like a family type thing. They're still a part of the Jewish family. They're still part of the Jewish community. If they need anything, I'll still be there for them. Right? Danny Challenger, do you think any Republican candidates in 2020 pose any threat to Donald Trump in the primaries? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, anyone who is a fan of Joe Walsh should definitely watch an episode of Who is America by Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen pretty much pranks politicians, and he went up to multiple Congress people, including Joe Walsh. At the time, he was a congressman from Illinois, and pretty much asked him to endorse a bill that would allow toddlers to carry guns at school. And he called it Kindergarten's Bill. Now, obviously, this whole bill is fake, but Joe Walsh endorsed it on camera He's okay with toddlers having firearms in schools. Mind you, these guns were specifically designed to be inside of stuffed animals and not look as threatening, and just show kids how to kill a bad guy, I guess. I don't know. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. But Joe Walsh is a joke. Bill Weld is... No one knows Bill Weld. I mean, he was running back in 2016 with Gary Johnson in the Libertarian Party race. He's a joke. He has no platform. He has nothing. And the other guy, I don't even remember the guy's name, but he had his kickoff party, and there's one person there. I think Trump is fine. I think Trump has no threats whatsoever. I think Trump is definitely going to not only win the Republican primary, but win the general election against whomever he's going to run against in the Democrats. Truly, truly, truly believe that. Believe me when I tell you. Believe me. All right. Let's do one more question. I'm going to hop off. And also, I want you guys to let me know, who do you want me to bring on the show coming up soon? And as well as, please subscribe. Please do. It helps a lot. It helps tremendously. I'm going to be doing this weekly. Every Thursday. I'm going to change the time most likely, just an hour further. But I will definitely let you guys know on social media. If you don't follow me online on social media, please do. My handle is right here, so go ahead and do that. All right, let's do this. One more question. Do you think the United States should be divided into more than one country? So, jokingly, I think California should be its own thing because I think it would be just hilarious, but no, I don't think it should. No, it shouldn't. I mean, constitutionally, it can't. Constitutionally, it cannot be more than one country. We have a union, and the union is supposed to be together. So, no, I don't think it should. Good question, though. I've never actually had that question asked to me. We'll do one more because why not? Who is the worst Democratic candidate for president? This is going to be a funny one. All right, so worst Democratic primary presidential candidate. And